All right. It is Friday, February 4th, 2022. I just remembered that last week I said 2021. I guess like I haven't flipped in my mind yet. So it is February the 4th, uh, 2022. Welcome to the Meanfi Community AMA Community Update. We do this every Friday, and today I am joined by, oh boy, I see that a few ambassadors came to the stage. Welcome, Mean Sage. Welcome, Drogan. Welcome, Eileen. Welcome, Pavel-san. And my name is Michelle. And we're here to give you a little update on everything going on Meanfi, Mean Protocol, Mean DAO, and answer all of your questions. I don't know if we open up already the AMA questions channel. It looks like we are open. Yes, we're open for business. All right, I see some questions coming in already. All right, where are we doing here? How are we doing? Where are we here? AMA stage. Let's see. We have 84 listening on Discord, and we have, I don't know how many we have listening here. We have 15 others listening over on Twitter. I see that Amaury is on Twitter. Hello, Amaury, and Jody is also on Twitter. How are you doing, guys? All right. So let's jump right in. This has been a busy week. And newsflash: the market is still in the tank. Like nothing has changed a whole lot in that perspective. But well, it looks like today is picking up a little bit. Solana is again above $100, so there's some good signs in there. If some of you missed it, there was a big announcement this week from the Solana community. Well, two kind of major happenings. The first one was the hack of the Wormhole bridge. Everything is back to normal right now. The team at Wormhole, reacted very quickly. The bridge was down for less than 48 hours, and yeah, so very quick response time. And at the end of the day, I think that all of the east that was bridge, or that was essentially kind of held in ransom, because this was a white hack, um, uh, 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 basically hack, and all of the ETH was recovered. The exchange is back at 100, and lesson to be learned. Check your accounts. They missed checking one of the accounts. And I think in big part because they are not using Anchor. So Anchor, the platform would have saved them if they had been using that from the beginning. They're a little bit more hardcore, and they do things directly on Rust. So we learned that lesson a long time ago, and everything right now that we have is an Anchor. So, but yeah. What else happened this week? I think this week also. The Solana Riptide. So there's a big hackathon going on now on Solana, and very little time to prep. They open it right away, and it's going to be running until I think it's March 12th, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere in there. It's going to be running for about a month, give or take. And so yeah, builder's going to be built, and something. This is hopefully going to be as successful as the previous one, and we're going to have a lot of new activity in the Solana ecosystem in general. So looking forward to that. We will probably be joining the next hackathon, not this one, but the next one, as sponsors of the hackathon. In that we're probably going to be giving out big prizes for people that are using our SDKs and integrating into our products. So we're looking forward to that participation on the next hackathon. It was a little too close for us on this one, so it's not going to happen on this one. But we know the folks at Solana Labs are always thinking about the next step, and we are first in line for that one. What else do we have going on? News cycle. Let's actually jump into some of the metrics. How we doing on growth and activation this week? We did new members, 26 new members. Welcome, 26. We have 5 of those new members became very active communicators. Welcome, welcome. I'm glad that you are enjoying the community. Um, our member retention went up by 2%. That is great. That's a good sign that after we took down some of the trees, the people that are left in the server are really holding on to their principles and are hanging tight here. Um, what else do we have here? The server leaves on, so like again, like kind of on the same. If you look at, I wish you could like have a way to share this chart here. But if you look at basically the members that have seniority versus the member leaves, like one is going up and one is going down consistently. So like again, that kind of like speaks a little bit about the maturity. Like I think that we're maturing a lot, and the people that are now on the server are they have the right motives and the right things in mind. So that's phenomenal. Let's take a look at our engagement. We actually had a lot more messages sent this week compared to the previous one. We went up by 41%, so that's a lot more chatter that happened this week, probably due to some of the events. I'm sure that either Drogan or Mean are going to help us out, kind of get some of those events that have been going on and some of the things that we have planned. And then what else do we have here? People that muted the server. I don't think it's a very useful thing. All right. So where are we in terms of breakdown? Turkey still on the lead, 26%, followed by Nigeria and Korea, 15 and 12, Indonesia 9%, US 4, Russia 4, India 4, Vietnam 3, Hong Kong 3, and everybody else gobbled up together in that 21%. Split about the same between mobile and desktop. And then like the maturity numbers continue to grow up, like 71% compared to 59% last week. So that means that a lot more people are sticking with us for longer, which is good to see, very good to see. All right, 648 new server follows on this, so that is also great. All good numbers in general. A lot of stability, I would say, is what I would, if I had to summarize what is happening. There's a lot of stability with a little bit of growth over the last week in our member base. And a lot more maturity numbers that have been going on. We have started. I think we started the first one that we did was on Thursday, but we have started a DAO talk that we're going to be doing a strategy for our DAO community twice a week, and all of the ambassadors and community managers we get together, and we're going to be discussing some of those things live. And I think that there's a lot of activity that is going to be taking care that happening over those meetings, and yeah. So we'll hold on until we have a little update from the AMBs here, and let's move on to Twitter. The last 7 days we had 50,000, a little over, almost 51,000 impressions. Kind of like keeping up with the news cycle of last week, which was low, generally speaking. We continue to have impressions kind of hovering the 10,000 impressions per day. We had a very low day, I think it was yesterday, that we had almost no impressions. Yeah, we have only 2,000 impressions. That was the lowest day this week, with the highest being at 12,102 impressions on February 1st. So we're kind of averaging that, like about 10,000 or so, about the same as last week. Not a whole lot going on. We open up the new Twitter account for the community events, and we're going to be doing a lot of cross posting on in between those accounts. but one is dedicated only for the events, and then the main account is going to be more on formal announcements, partnerships, product updates, things that we're doing in general. So a little bit more division of responsibilities there on Twitter, and yeah, so that's kind of where we are. The engagement rate in general went up a little bit from 3.3% to 0.3%, not a whole lot. And the average click-through rate went to 43, up from 14. I guess that people are either clicking or retweeting on the same things, because we didn't have a whole lot of tweets this week. Only had like 2 tweets, I think. So very a little bit still not great numbers on Twitter so far. Even like right now, you can see we have only 17 people on Twitter that have joined us, and if you look at the Discord, we have 106. So big difference in numbers here. But still, I think Twitter is a very important medium, and we need to continue to support that. So there's a little bit of planning around that with the community. What is the theme this week in terms of product and whatnot? I'm going to leave it up to Pavel-san to give out the details, but there are a couple of things that recently we had to move in terms of scheduling, right? So one thing that is going to move in the goalpost is our staking is going to be delayed about a week, and also the POL is going to be delayed about a week. So normally initially we had set up the bonds to go live somewhere around February 15th, because that was the last day that the audit was going to take place with our partner. And it turns out that yes, it's going to take up to that day, but that means that there's a little bit of setup that they will need to do with us and things of that nature. So for us to play it safe, we're going to do that a week later. So it moved from the 15th to the 21st. And the other thing that moved was that on this week, so essentially we were planning to have almost everything ready for the staking program to go into the QA team and into testing and all those things. And that is going to what didn't happen this week, so we're going to have that delayed for another week. That means that probably by next week we're going to have some of that ready, and we need to make sure that things are working neatly and stuff like that. But because we have a lot of things going on, especially with the audits that are starting next week. So and we don't want to rush anything into the market that might have side effects. So yep, there's a little bit of delay on this, but I don't think it's too big a deal, because we had to wait anyways for the protocol on liquidity bonds that are going to go live later down the month. So it's going to be February the 20th for the POL, and probably a week earlier by the 15th the staking, right? So we're going to have 1 week, the same differential as we had last time. Now, with all that being said, is 10:13. I'm going to turn this over to Pavel-san, and maybe you can give us a more detailed update, Pavel-san. What's going on with the product? Where are we at? And what have we done this week? And what do we have coming up for the next one?
I think it's having some mic issues, because I see that he's not muted.
I see.
Yeah.
Mylene, you want to take this over?
Well, I was chatting with him this morning, so I kind of wanted to see, to hear better from him, to be quite honest. But like generally speaking, while he's getting back to the meeting, one of the things that I mentioned earlier before that you were like, Melanie, we might have to recap this later on in the meeting. It's with regards to company growth. There is a lot that has been happening with the company lately for better, right? From new hires, new infrastructures that we're setting up in place, and basically like new foundations that we're putting in place in order to scale better, in order to provide with more accurate timelines, in order to improve our support center. So I just wanted to, mention that and communicate this to the community out there. When you have a company that goes from 4 or 5 people to all of a sudden grow to, I think we double size, or almost, we are
No,
close to
we're
triple in
right now
size.
19 people, so yeah, a lot.
There you go. And this has happened in a very short amount of time. So there's a lot of things that need to be put in place in order for us to continue scaling at a good pace, in order to keep, helping the community out there, and to provide the feedback and the results the community is expecting from us. So, that sort of thing. I just wanted to mention it. I think that Paolo is back online. Paolo,
Can you
if
guys hear me?
you're good to go,
Yes, I think so.
yeah,
Are you able to hear me? Okay, sorry about that. I
we
don't know
can hear you
why,
well.
I don't know what happened. I was talking and you guys couldn't hear me, but thanks for that update, Lynn. And just wanted to follow up actually. The audit is something that obviously is very important for everybody from a security standpoint, and it adds a lot of reassurance to people. So that is something that's definitely sort of happening behind the scenes. It's not really something that users see per se, but nonetheless, it's very important. So it did play a little bit of part in some of the work we're doing. A couple things I can point out that are sort of really cool. One thing I'd like to shout out to the Turkish community. Arabian horses comes to mind, but everybody that helped out with being proactive and working to translate our app. So that was something that actually just got brought to me yesterday, I believe, and so we're already starting the steps on getting that implemented, and really awesome, guys. So thanks so much for that, and I guess I put that offer out to any community that we have that wants to assist with sort of making the app more accessible in different languages. Reach out to us, because we're looking for this to spread around the world. It's such a massive opportunity for everybody to take advantage of and use. So that's thanks for that. There are some sort of continuing small issues with the Solana network, as people know, and not to be negative, but it's something that we had to address at the app level. So some people will notice from very time to time, and hopefully never, but maybe once in a while, if there are if we detect some issues where it looks like there's a little bit of network congestion, you may see a bar at the top that just says that Solana is experiencing some issues, and there may be some delays in transactions. So the whole point of that really is just to let our users be informed, because we just didn't want a situation where there's a problem outside of, say, the Mean app, and the user is trying to process a transaction and they're not really entirely sure why it's not working. So this is us being a little bit more proactive in the rare cases when there are issues, to notify and educate our users as to what's happening in the moment. And in a situation like that, it's something as simple as maybe just waiting a little bit and coming back, because it usually, when these congestions happen, it is very brief in time, and not really a big deal really in the grand scheme of things, but it just makes it a little bit easier to manage that when those issues come up. And I mean, on that front, like Solana there's so much great development and energy that's happening across the whole ecosystem, and super excited to be part of it. And there's growing pains, right? So these small growing pains will be a thing of the past at a certain point, and that red bar that we've added will be less and less likely to show up down the road. And so that's a super quick update on that. Yes.
Yeah, I actually have a little request on the red bar.
Okay.
I should this is not the probably the proper setting, but it would be great also if we add like a link to the Solana status page in there, not only notifying that, hey, this is down, but if someone wants to like monitor that directly on the Solana status page, that'll be useful too, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I mean, there's a little bit of a nuance there, because we're detecting TPS, or transactions per second. Sometimes on the Solana status page, it actually won't necessarily show up if it's averaged across, say, 15 minutes or half an hour, but
Yeah.
we can still be a little bit more proactive, if you will, and in being able to sort of see when it's happening sort of in real time, if you will. So, but that's a great idea, and it's something that we'll add. So thanks for that. And then I guess the only other thing I would say is the statistics information page that has been working on behind the scenes, the stats area, maybe it's more than a page, is looking fantastic. And so really excited to see that coming super soon. I would say the polishing touches are being added to that, and it's going to be such a great resource for all of our members to be able to access that. And then I guess on the support side, I'd just like to again, we're getting very fast in our first responses. So thanks to the team again, like I said last week, and we have made improvements to the process, which is making us more efficient and better able to help the users. And also as well to the users for their patience when there are a couple issues that are a bit more technical, for allowing the proper time to be able to answer their concerns. Anybody that has an issue, we care about solving their issues, their problems, and we do our best to do it in as a timely manner as possible. So that's the support side for now.
Cool. Awesome. Yep. Lots of good stuff in there. What we I think that also on the support on the support side, like the tickets have been going down quite significantly already, right? Like in terms of people submitting problems that they've had and things like that. Like, have you seen any kind of behavioral analysis that you can share with us?
Sure, for sure. It definitely, part of that is because of some of the improvements that the team is making. Essentially, like I guess, I mean, to summarize, because we're better able to sort of handle some of the sort of the usage issues. It's making it's much easier to be able to focus the time necessary, free up some time to work on the more complicated items. But I don't have a metric on hand, but I will definitely sort of get that together. But overall, as a general term, the tickets are definitely are dropping. And again, like the time to from start to resolution has dropped quite substantially. So I would say
All right,
positive on that front, but we still have some additional work to do to keep supporting our users.
Awesome. There's one thing that probably the community would also want to hear, and it is like, when multi-sig UI. That's maybe you can give us like a little hint here, and what's been going on that front, yeah, what when multi-sig UI. That's we've had a lot of people asking for that, because we've been kind of giving you updates that it's coming. I want to give everybody a little update on that.
For sure. It's one of those things where there's a couple of final touches that we're putting on that, surrounded around how the multi-sig is able to be essentially the treasurer. So that is sort of the final item that we've got that is being worked on as a sort of a top priority. It's something that we would like to see live as soon as possible, but we also don't want to rush it to make sure that it's fully finished and the users won't have any problem with it. But part of the top priority, do expect it within the next week if everything goes to plan.
Right on. Okay. Yeah, I think that a key thing that you mentioned there is like, multi-sig is at the core of basically DAO governance and movement of funds and approvals, and basically making sure that there is redundancy around decision-making process. And we have like most of the treasuries are going to end up falling into treasurers that are not signed by a single person, but rather by an actual multi-sig. and the connection, or basically the you can think about these two things as kind of like building blocks. I'm just talking in general for the community now. You can think about these pieces, guys, as building blocks. You have on the one end, you have treasuries. On the other end, you have money streams that can be spawned off from treasuries. And on the other end, you have another Lego block, which is the SIG. And those three things are connected. Right now, we're working at yes, you can launch or you can create money streams from a particular treasury, but then who authorizes that needs to be the new multisig, and those UIs and those workflows need to kind of make sense so that people are not confused in the same way that they are confused now when they use kind of like disconnected workflows for sending money or or withdrawing money from a vault to send it to a particular address, versus just approving the upgrade of a program, for example, right? So in a decentralized way, so that you require multiple signatures to get something done. So there's a lot of really cool workflows that are in place there, that are hopefully shortly going to be followed up by having some integration into actual governance programs like the SBL governance program, right? So there's a lot of really exciting stuff that is soon to hit the market from our side, and we're very stoked and excited about what is to come from that angle.
It's going to be great.
All right. Yeah. I can already taste it. Like,
yeah, it's awesome.
It's it's a really cool product. All right. So why don't we move onto community? Drogan, I see you're on the stage. How are you doing, man? It's been a couple of weeks since the last time I talked to you. Can I hear you, sir? All right, Mean Sage, why don't you take over? I think Drogan is having some issues with the mic. Man, I think everybody's having issues with the mic. Yeah. I must be a genius. I'm the one that never has issues with the mic.
But thank God you don't.
I know, seriously.
It's mic issues today.
I think Discord has some issues these days. So we've been having this experience several times over.
I see.
Not just
all right. Good hearing your voice. Okay. Good hearing your voice.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm really happy to be here, and for the privilege to be on stage here. So,
right on. So, tell us what happened with the community this last week, and what do we have going on for the next one? Kind of like, grace us with your candor, please.
Okay. On the community front, normally we've been holding several events to engage the community, trying to be lively. And over the last epoch, we rewarded those community members who participated actively in those events. We've been holding live talk shows, and over this past week, we actually had the Turkish community. We had a member of the Turkish community come on and about their people. It's a huge amount of cost here, trying to bring together and unite the whole fight, friendly so over the next couple of weeks, we're still trying to figure out ways we can update or read a perspective of language barrier and bring them together.
You're breaking up a little bit. The internet connection is not right now. Yeah.
I'm fine. How you doing? With the community engagement this week, I think the highlight would be just a couple of hours. We decided to go right into the creation of the sub-DAO, where we actively divided our ambassadors into categories, mainly marketing, some people on community management, some people on product and help support. So that's like the major highlights. We've held different events this week. But prior to our meeting we had with you, which was yesterday, we decided that most of these events we are holding isn't really what we are trying to really work on. Meanfi, as we all know, is a product, is a community product based. So we decided that any events we'll be having during this month and next month would be mainly sensitizing people about Meanfi, about our products, about what we have to offer. So yeah, this week we also decided to create the Telegram group. We've had issues with different scam links, creating Telegram groups. We decided to create. It was kind of like a calculative decision that since we have some countries restricted with Discord, why not create a Telegram account where they can also be part of the Meanfi community? I think that went up this morning. So that was like a calculative decision. We are trying to focus more on one of our largest community. Like you said, we have the Turkish community as being one of the largest users of our products. So we are trying to also specifically try to bring them on board. We had the Turkish do a personal AMA. I think we had a couple of weeks the Persian community also do their own separate AMAs where speakers come on stage to speak in their native languages. We also decided that we will be needing the help of major bilingual translators. Like we are also working on our Twitter because we know how powerful the Twitter account is going to be, especially in the crypto world. So we are also working on our Twitter account and how to get more users from both the Twitter, the Telegram to come on board. So basically, this our main focus this month will be getting more people from the world, like people outside of our Discord, to come use our app. So that's our major focus this
Really
month, and that's
awesome.
with the help of Tariq, we're able to categorize ourselves into different departments to this vision. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I think it's genius, and this is all in the full grace of divide and conquering. We have right now, I think, 28 or 29 ambassadors that are managing the community. So between ambassadors and community managers, we're like close to 30 people there. So this is great to see that you guys are kind of like trying to divide and conquer the bigger problems that we have in the community and address them in dedicated subgroups in there. So that's excellent news. And I don't have the numbers right now, but I think that in the last couple of weeks we have already like paid out from the community treasury to the DAO community activities like close to 10,000 mean tokens, which is like about a little over $7,000 right now, $7,000 or $8,000. So we're going to be incentivizing a lot of those activities also throughout the community. So everybody, keep your ears and eyes out, and I think that a lot of these things that the ambassadors are working on with the community are going to only get better with time, right? So we're kind of like starting on a new era here that is post IDO, post airdrop, post like this is what the future really looks like, and like we needed a little bit of changes in general from the community management standpoint, and that's what all those things are being put in place right now. And it's only a matter of time before everything gets like super better, super optimized, and super KPI based and numbers based. So that's all phenomenal work that you guys are doing there. Super grateful to you, Meansage, and Drogan, and Anne, and all of the ambassadors. I see a few of you here: Alpha Trader, Chikwi, Chuka. So all of you, you're doing phenomenal in helping get the community where it needs to be. We have a lot of growing pains, just like everybody. I think that this will never change, just in general, like generally speaking. we are a living and growing organism, and almost every week we learn new things, and we adapt to them, and our survival is basically that, right? So this is the jungle, and we need to adapt to it as new things happen, and we are doing just that in the community. I think it's phenomenal that we're doing this. All right, so we have the update now of what's going on from metrics, what's going on from the product, what's going on in the industry, what's going on in the community. Why don't we go ahead, and it is 20 minutes to 11. Why don't we try to answer some questions here, shall we? And let's see where we land. All right, I'm going to start here on the AMA questions channel on Discord. Right now we are, let me do a quick check, 25 people over in LinkedIn, 100 in Twitter, 136 over in the AMA stage on Discord. So we are now, I'm going to the AMA questions window here, and let's see what we have here. Staking coming soon, crypto, idea for NFT cards. The NFT conversation continues to come up, and the answer to that is we have some NFT business going on soon. We're not ready to kind of announce that. Actually, Drogan and remind me and remind Tariq too. Like maybe we should discuss the Mean Heroes piece in a little bit more details on the next DAO talk that we have, I think, scheduled for next Tuesday. And start organizing that. We need to put a from you guys to decide what founders. Did you guys start already, or I'm going to take that as a no. Yeah, let's do a little bit of work on that. But we have some cool ideas in there that are going to be coming up soon, at least, to get that ball rolling on that aspect. Let me scroll down right now. Let me see if there's anything. Do we have? All right, I got a question here that says, how not only retail investors but also institutions can participate in Meanfi? All right, this is a good question, and so we need to make a distinction here in terms of like nomenclature and how do we address the different parts of basically the industry, right? So what on the retail side, well, when we say retail banking users and retail investors, we are essentially defining a group of people that act on their own behalf. They're not representing any company or institution. Okay, this is basically when you, I, and everybody here invests their own money. You are acting as in a retail capacity. It is you, your money, and then Meanfi and the products behind it that you're using. Now, the next kind of like iteration coming up from retail is when you are not representing yourself, when you are representing an organization. And there are two kinds of like organizations that we divide the market in. The first group is simply regular business. Okay, it doesn't matter whether you sell shoes or you are a DAO that is a social marketing or a social type of DAO, or you are I don't know, Adidas selling sneakers. Okay, you are an organization, not necessarily a financial organization. You are a business, and you have assets and treasuries and stuff like that you still need to diversify and manage and stuff like that. So that's what we call, just generally in our roadmap, we categorize that as businesses. Okay, and then there's a separate category, which is basically institutions, and institutions have a slightly different connotation from a business, because when you are talking about a business, the assumption is that these are not businesses that are in the financial sector necessarily. Okay, they are not, their primary objective is not to invest money that either they hold for themselves or they hold on behalf of somebody else. But there are special kinds of institutions that special kinds of businesses, which is what we call a financial institution or institutional investment grade money, which are essentially non-retail banking that is handling, for example, pension funds, and is handling very large sums of money on behalf of a broader audience. Generally, in finance, when we are referring to institutions, those are the ones that we're talking about. We're talking about retirement funds, pension funds. We're talking about investment banking, like the Goldman Sachs of the world, or family offices that have very large amounts of capital that they need to deploy, with unique strategies. Now, why is that distinction important? Because it is very different when a retail investor like myself is going into an exchange and decides to swap, $5,000 or $10,000 worth of one token for another. The impact that you have on the depth of that liquidity pool might not be that big of a deal. But if an institution all of a sudden comes up or shows up, and they decide to have, and they decide to swing, $10 million, $50 million in a single trade, those are massive liquidity events that you cannot just simply do it in one swoop. Otherwise, you're going to destabilize the market very, very much. So, for context, if you have like right now, if you look at the mean USDC liquidity pool that we have in Orca, it has a little over $1 million, $1.2 million, $1.4 million, something like that. I haven't looked at it in a couple of days. If someone essentially comes up with $1 million and they say, I want to buy $1 million worth of mean, that will shoot the price of mean so high, and vice versa. If I want to sell $1 million worth of mean, that will tank the price all the way down to basically, like, it will have a really, really bad slippage on that particular liquidity pool. All right. So when we are talking to institutions and we are doing workflows and workloads for institutions, we have to take different parameters in mind, because usually those entail moving large sums of money. And whether we are trading those large sums of money or we are investing those large sums of money, usually they have an impact over the total liquidity available in the market for the particular tokens that we are dealing with. So different set of product rules and assumptions that we have to make when we're dealing with institutions. The short answer to that is yes, we are, and we have in our roadmap a lot of different milestones that have to do with institutional financing, and it just happens to be not our number one priority at this point. Most of the other protocols, for example, they focus a lot more on institutional piece, because with one or two clients you can get a lot of business already, because if you essentially close an individual institutional client, that might be a client that is worth 50,000 or 50 million or 100 million dollars worth of TVL for your protocol, as opposed to, in our case, we started from the retail angle and we're moving up into institutional investor as opposed to the other way around. And in our case, we need to optimize for number of users and number of people actually having access to our application, having access to our product, and having access to our tokens to reach the same levels of TVL that a single institution may provide us, right? But that is a calculated decision. It is a decision that we decided this is the best way for us. We're going in a different direction than most other protocols that start at the institutional level and go down into retail from there. We're starting at retail and going up into institutions. So institutions for us, yes, it's on the roadmap, and yes, it comes after we wrap up all of the business tooling and DAO tooling that we're starting to build right now. We are right now officially in the midst of the stage 2, about to start stage 3 next month. But we already have a bunch of different tools that have been worked on for DAOs and regular businesses. So little by little, we're going to get there. Good question. Who was this? JDXO. All right. What else do we have here? Do we have to plan? Jomungander asks, is there new listing plans on exchanges such as Binance, Huawei, Exchange, etc. in the near future? None of those three in the near future. But we do have, so Bitmart is still working through. So the problem that happened with Bitmart, so we have two exchanges that that we're working with. The Bitmart deal, we already did. We're pending listing anytime soon right now. What happened to them is that they had an emergency maintenance that they had to do on their exchange for the Solana chain. Because they're a central exchange, essentially that meant that all new listings in the Solana chain were halted until they finished that. And then the lunar year came on. And now basically you have people still, they take basically a whole week during lunar year, and they have a big presence in Asia. So a lot of their engineering assets are in Asia, and they've had scheduled vacations and things like that. So because of the lunar year, there's been delays to the Bitmart listing. But I anticipate that immediately after the lunar year, or whenever they have, we're following up with them almost on a daily basis to see where they are with that. But we should be getting a listing on Bitmart very, very soon, which will make it basically our third official centralized exchange that we list on. In addition to that, we are talking to other exchanges. We know for a fact that right now Binance is not going to happen. We already talked to them, and we cannot meet their listing. No, we cannot meet their listing demands or the amount of money and capital that they're asking. It just doesn't make sense for us. Is a little too much, unjustifiably so, in my personal opinion. At some point, if we really want to list on Binance, we can submit that to a vote and basically drain a little bit the community treasury. But it is, I'm telling you from now, it's a ridiculous amount of money that they want for us to list in there. So I don't think that we will have that much of an impact. I mean, with that amount of money from the community treasury, we can do a whole lot of other things, both in marketing and in promotions and in incentives and things like that, that I think is going to have a much bigger impact than whatever amount of listing we do on Binance. So yeah, exchanges and listings and stuff like that is going to continue to be part of the day-to-day activities. At some point, I think after, like, as we grow and the market recovers a little bit, I think there's going to be some renewed interest from all of the other exchanges, and we will be here to talk to all of them. So yeah. All right. If the Mean app is hacked, can we fix it easily? I'm not sure what. Yeah, I'm not sure what that. We will act as fast as we can, of course. If there's a hack, we have a lot of things in place right now, and I think that by now we are. I think that all of the team, all of the core team, we have enough fear in our skin to not fall victim of fund leakage on our smart contracts. But nonetheless, that's why we're getting additional audits right now done, and that's why we have all the unit tests and all the things that we discuss quite often from a security standpoint. Right after the security audit goes through, we're going to open up our bug bounty program, and we're going to have a dedicated allocation, basically a reserve allocation on the bug bounty for people that discover and report vulnerabilities into us. I think that there's a distinction between a bug and a hack. A hack usually involves funds being lost, like what happened to Wormhole that this last week. And yeah, one of the things that I think someone from the community brought it up, and it's something that we should consider probably approving or having it set aside, is essentially setting aside an insurance fund from the treasury, from the DAO treasury, to in the case of an emergency, we have something to to cover up or to hedge a particular issue that might come from from an actual leakage on the app. So I think we should seriously consider that and maybe make it part of the budget that we set aside on treasury. So yeah, we'll to do list to discuss further. But yeah, good question. Let's see what else we have. Boy, a lot of questions here. Let's see. Does the regular payment method of our project establish strategic partnership with the metaverse projects that we can trade regularly, such as the Atlas project? I am sorry for mistake words. I don't know, but so payment rails work basically everywhere. So yeah, including metaverse projects. So yeah. Let's see here. When can we see mean on TradingView? I don't know. I actually don't even know how to get it there, but yeah, maybe we should note to self how to get things into TradingView, how to get mean onto TradingView, or Chris, if you are online, we need to look into that. Let me take some note on that. I don't know how to do that. What else in here? What are the difference and advantages with previous projects? That's very generic. We're a new product DAO. Yada yada yada. What else do we have here? Hey guys, like, do you see any question? Because like the scroll is getting like really thin here, and we only have about 7 minutes left on this. I'm scrolling through here. Let me see what else we have. Will there be a lower limit for staking, or we will be able to stake any amount we want? No lower limit. What it would be, so there's no limit into the amount of tokens you can stake. What it will be limited is, or what it will be a variable thing is, what is the actual rate of return that you get from that, because it's not fixed depending on how many people. So like if you participate very early on the staking program, you're going to receive a ridiculous number because you're going to be amongst the first. But if you wait until later, we'll probably end up stabilizing that at a still very sexy return, but not as ridiculous as the first few people that participate. So, but you can stake any amount you want. So yeah, no, there will not be a limit. Any amount, my friend. Yeah, Mandrasab already answered that. Very good. Let's see. Do we have an amazing plan? NFT projects, money stream, DACI. Oh, someone is writing in different language here. Give current state of cryptocurrency market. What are your plans for the future?
There's a bunch of questions like that about the plans for the future, the vision. I mean, it's laid out in the roadmap, but it might be worth covering that a little bit. I don't know. You sort of answered a few of those already, though.
Yeah. So in our roadmap, we have we have basically right now 2 roadmaps, and we cover kind of like the roadmap for the first for the good part of 2021 in a detailed yearly roadmap that we published late last year. Okay. Maybe we can do a little bit more of work and having like more of a dynamic roadmap that we can update more often, and maybe like do it on a monthly basis and stuff like that. But I feel that after some level of detail, we're just doing work for the sake of doing work. Like nobody cares what are we doing on a weekly basis, so long that we hit the major milestones, and it is just overhead for nothing. Internally, we discuss a lot of the weekly progress that we have to do, but ultimately all of them are geared towards hitting those major milestones that we have in front of us, and those are well laid out in our overall roadmap. The roadmap, for those of you who need a refresher, has 5 stages. Stage number 1 is essentially retail consumer banking users. All right, we are on the tail end of that. Most of the things that retail consumer banking users do are already possible on Meanfi. The second stage of that has to do with investors, and that is retail investors, people like you and Alison and myself and everybody, right? So like, we are all individual retail investors. That's what we are. That's the way that all of the other protocols look at us. That's the way that we look at ourselves. Individuals that have their own money and that want to make investments with their own money. That's where, for example, things like protocol on liquidity is coming up. The bonds that we're going to be offering through POL is part of that particular milestone. The staking program is part of that particular milestone. The work on opening up our index fund investments and particular blue chip investments and dedicated mixes that we have through the Solrise integration. So all of those things are part of the investor stage of the roadmap. We are hot in the middle of that, working on all of those things, and those things will kind of like get released little by little. I anticipate like over the next month or so, like certainly by the end of this quarter, we should have the first few products that are going to be part of the of the investor stage. Now, the investor stage is going to run well into Q2. Okay, so even though we might have the first few products that are part of the investor stage delivered in Q1, those things will continue to evolve and will continue to enhance. And, the idea with retail investment workflows is that we're going to cover a huge spectrum at different risk levels. Right. So if you are a retail investor that are not comfortable with smart contract risk or with kind of like risky non-structured products and things of that nature, you have an option to do that. Maybe staking is the better solution for you. Low risk, lower rewards, or something to that effect. If you are a very risk prone person and you're okay with things like impermanent loss and things like derivative risk and things of that nature, then you have an option to also kind of go all the way to the end of that spectrum and get higher returns if you want to do that, right? So all of those things are going to be part of the offering that we do as part of the investment milestone. The next phase of our roadmap is the business phase, and that is everything that has to do with DAO tooling. And technically speaking, we should have not started on that process until March. Until April, because we have January, February, March is the Q1 of this year, and we're supposed to start that DAO tooling and business stuff right around the March timeline. But we have already accelerated working on a lot of the DAO tooling and a lot of those products for a good couple months now, or for a good month, I'll say, give or take. Everything that we discuss about, the multi-sig, everything that we've been discussing about, treasuries and payroll, like all of those are workflows that, as an individual retail banking user, you don't care about multi-sigs most of the time. As an individual investor, you don't care about multi-sigs or paying salaries or anything like that. But as a business, you do care about that. You do care if you're a DAO to make distributions that are safe and that are using proper multi-sig safety and things of that nature. So a lot of those things are kind of like accelerated. So in a way, you can think that we're going to be delivering a lot of our promises earlier rather than later. Okay, when it comes to the business milestones, but there's so many other things on the business piece. So like I mentioned before, the integration to other governance programs, so that DAOs that are deploying their governance directly in those programs have access immediately to our tooling, so that they can do distributions and emissions and all of these cool things with a couple of clicks. That is part of that milestone. So we have a lot of things that have to do with kind of like the pace of business, picking up in that kind of priority level. First consumer, then investors, then businesses. And after that, we just have to we'll continue on into the institutional part, and that's way later this year. We're talking about Q4, if not Q1 of next year, but for sure for the rest of the year, most of our focus is going to be on the investors and on the business stages. And then we might start bringing in some of the institutional pieces towards Q4 of this year and potentially next year. We have a lot of work in front of us for these things, and this is not stuff that you do in a week. Like, you have to put a lot of resources, a lot of time, a lot of security, a lot of checksums, a lot of business development that needs to go into place. Because, like, I mean, we're doing this because we want people to use it. So it's not only about building it and they will come. No, you have to go out and have partnerships and talk to people and talk to other DAOs and see what they need and see how we can do to accommodate their requirements, et cetera, et cetera. So it takes a lot. It takes a very cohesive multi-team approach to achieve some of these things. Okay, Paul, I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
No, I thought that was very very comprehensive. Hopefully you can still hear me.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
I thought that covered it really well. And like you said, Michelle, there's a couple of the items that were sort of being slated for later on in the year we're already tackling, and so that we're not waiting to the point where it shows up on the roadmap to get started. And some of the groundwork is being laid right now. And when those tools are ready, they will become available. And the multi-sig, I would say, just to add to your point, is individuals can take advantage of that if they choose to help add some layers of security on for themselves. So some of the work we're going to be doing on the DAO front is to help provide some educational materials to back up the products that we're launching, to help users that aren't aware of how that might work to take advantage of perhaps some of the items or products that maybe are more business inclined, but could also be used at the user level for people who are security conscious.
Yeah, awesome. Yep, that's good stuff. I see a couple of questions here that also that have to do with how do we differentiate, or how do we basically compete on the Telegram community. We just created a Telegram group, by the way. We have to update a couple of places where it says that we don't have an official Telegram group. So yeah, so we have to update that on the docs and stuff like that. But that happened basically today. And some questions are like, how are we going to convince other members, like members that are on Telegram, about like, this is the real one and the other ones that are fake are not the real ones. And I think that Chris Code was answering that Telegram official accounts normally get verified icon after other media accounts are confirmed. Those official accounts stand out from the fake ones. I don't know if the ambassadors already started that process, but I think that would be critical to make sure that we have a verified account. We should probably do that on Twitter as well. The problem is that they usually ask for like official media, stuff in there. I really don't know how verification works on this thing. So maybe something that we need to explore in both on Telegram and on Twitter. And I think that we already have some sort of leveling that is standard here in Discord. So yeah, I'm not sure where we are there. Yeah, we have 104 boosts for that, so we're level 3. But good questions. Good stuff. I just realized it is 11:05. I didn't even notice the time. So I guess like a full hour went by. I am already running late to catch a plane, and I don't want to be left behind. So Pavel-san, Mylene, Adele, who else do we have here in the call? Let me see. Anything else that we want to add here before we wrap it up and let everybody go home?
Just say very, very quickly, love all the changes that you guys are doing on the DAO front, me being part of it, and let's keep that up. It's the positive nature of it is awesome, and really, really good sign for the future all around. So good work, guys.
Yeah, phenomenal. I second that.
Yeah,
super amazing engagement and stuff in there. Yes, Mylene.
absolutely. No, I was just like supporting what Paolo just said.
Yeah. No, I think that we're all extra happy with those things. Now it's a matter of kind of like keeping up the pressure and raising up the quality. And I think that we're pointing in the right direction here, guys. Like we're doing really well, and we need to continue, doubling down in some of these initiatives that we have going on, and we're raising the quality of everything that we do across the board. All right, so we're wrapping up the conversation with 125 over in Discord, 21 over in Twitter, and what we are going to do is get the fuck out of the way and let you guys be until next week. I think one of the things that we're going to start doing also is bringing in additional guests, both from the partnership side and potential partners that we're going to be having here, personalities, things of that nature, and
Okay,
inviting them
great.
more into the AMAs on Fridays, so that we can have a little bit more of a lively discussion from that front. If it is 11:08, so like I always say, thank you very much. We've had a phenomenal week. We have next week, I think, is going to be like one of those big bang weeks. Really looking forward to everything that we have going on. Very excited about the work in DAO. Very excited about the work that we're doing on product. And please stand by. Let's keep kicking some mean ass here, and go out, smell the flowers, kiss your best ones, kiss your loved ones, and let's fucking go!
Yes. Awesome.
All right. One day,
Everybody,
all
have a good
I can, like one day, I'm going, like, we have to do this together, right? Like we have to like close our things where everybody says it together. Like maybe we'll try that. We'll rehearse that next week and see how that comes out.
That's awesome. See everybody.
Alrighty.
Bye, everyone.
See you guys
Take care,
later.
everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.